Fair use only.
Footage taken from the patrickcoffin.media YouTube channel.
With a little editing from yours truly. Thank you for watching Hidden Hand, your one stop for esoteric readings, historical and media analysis, and so much more.
Hey, Patrick Coffin here with some thoughts on Freemasonry. I don't mean gyprock or bricks that you don't have to pay for. Freemasonry, as in the Masonic Lodge, as in the secret society, Catholics are in fact forbidden to join. This might be a surprise to some of you. Modern Freemasonry started around 1717 in England during the dawn of the Enlightenment. It's a hodgepodge of New Age thinking, Rosicrucianism, astrology, theosophy, and traditions of cultic groups like the Druids, the Mithars, Egyptian priesthood, super Catholic stuff. Freemasonry involves also the taking of occultic oaths and keeping the truth of Freemasonry a secret, of indifferentism, as we'll see, and also the subversion of the church and of the state. Members are also open to having gruesome deaths befall them if they reveal the inner secrets of the lodge. In the United States, Masons are more identified with the ancient Arabic order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, aka the Shriners, or the Lodge, Shriners Hospitals, the guys with the fez hats on mini bikes at parades. Since the decree in eminenti, it's called, of Pope Clement XII in 1738, Catholics have been forbidden to join the Masons, and until 1983, forbidden under pain of excommunication. The Church has explicitly condemned Freemasonry and all other similar secret societies at least 53 times since 1738, and has specifically repeated the condemnation of Freemasonry 21 times. That's a strong message. And one of the most basic indictments of Freemasonry came from the encyclical Humanum Janus by Pope Leo XIII in 1884. He'd only been Pope for 6 years, and he said, yes, there were secret societies of Masons, but the thing is better understood as an ideology or a belief system, as a kind of aggressive secularism. Masons hide themselves with signs of education and virtue signaling. Leo XIII writes, thus, with a fraudulent external appearance and with a style of simulation which is always the same, the Freemasons, like the Manichees of old, strive as far as possible to conceal themselves and to admit no witnesses but their own members. As a convenient manner of concealment, he continues, they assume the character of literary men and scholars associated for purposes of learning. They speak of their zeal for a more cultured refinement and of their love for the poor, and they declare their one wish to be the amelioration of the condition of the masses and to share with the largest possible number all the benefits of civil life. Kind of sounds like Ebenezer Scrooge before his conversion. Unquote, by the way. Where do we see this kind of thing? Well, we see this in operation in Hollywood, in the Lavender Mafia inside the Catholic Church, and top to bottom in the modern Democratic Party. No true virtue, but the accidental appearance of virtue. Emphasis on dialogue instead of talking of mortal sins. No concrete rules for holiness, no encouraging of spiritual practices like fasting or the rosary. This all reminds us of Judas as well, who lacked true love for Christ and tried to sell the expensive spikenard that was meant for our Lord so that he could what? Give it to the poor. Judas loved the poor. Freemasonry also teaches relativism and religious indifferentism. Now, back to Humanum Janus. Quote, first, in this way, they deceive the simple-minded and the heedless and can induce a far greater number to become members. Again, I'm continuing. As all who offer themselves are received, whatever may be their form of religion, they thereby teach the great error of this age, that a regard for religion should be held as an indifferent matter, and that all religions are alike. Ever hear that? This manner of reasoning is calculated to bring about the ruin of all forms of religion, the Pope says, and especially of the Catholic religion, which, as it is the only true one, cannot without great injustice be regarded as merely equal to other religions, unquote. This does sound familiar, doesn't it? Isn't this redolent of the Mario Cuomo slogan, personally opposed but ideology that started with a guy called Pontius Pilate and brought to life 2,000 years later by Catholic Democrats with the help of Jesuits like Robert Drinan, S.J.? This Masonic ideology has wormed its way into the highest levels of the US government and the Supreme Court throughout the years, and also in the church when people like Cardinal Daniels of Belgium said he would never push his beliefs on a civil body when it came to gay marriage and abortion and euthanasia. Or what about Pope Francis saying that we shouldn't proselytize Muslims, that God wills the diversity of religions? Masons are also behind the effort to undermine and destroy marriage. This much is clear. This is not conspiracy theory material. Back to Pope Leo. Quote, Masons hold that marriage belongs to the genus of commercial contracts, which can rightly be revoked by the will of those who made them, and that the civil rulers of the state have power over the matrimonial bond. That in the education of the youth, nothing is to be taught in the matter of religion, as of certain and fixed opinion, and each must be left at liberty to follow, whenever he comes of age, whatever he may prefer. Does that sound familiar? Quote, thus the time is quickly coming when marriages will be turned into another kind of contract. That is, into changeable and uncertain unions which fancy may join together and which the same, when changed, may disunite. Unquote. Well, this is all unfurling now in the congressional law of California, the pushing of the trans agenda on middle and elementary schools here in California, for instance, in the lawfare waged against Masterpiece Cake Shop, in the judicial imposition of so-called gay marriage, hate speech laws, etc., etc. Pope Leo predicted this over 100 years ago. And as popes have always understood and taught, these policies are designed to give off the appearance of sensitivity, but are utilized to take down the church and her teaching under the name of acceptance. On November 26, 1983, with the approval of St. John Paul II, the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, whose prefect then was Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, reiterated the ban on Catholics joining the Masons. This is the exact wording. The Church's negative position on Masonic association remains unaltered, since their principles have always been regarded as irreconcilable with the Church's doctrine. Hence, joining them remains prohibited by the Church. Catholics enrolled in Masonic associations are involved in serious sin and may not approach Holy Communion, unquote. A serious sin is a mortal sin. As the Catholic Church knows well, there's nothing new under the sun. And like a good mother, she warns her children, even if they get annoyed, about the dangers around them and teaches the difference between the real thing and imposters. Subscribe to this channel, keep in touch. Love to hear your take down below.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Thank you for watching Hidden Hand. Let me know what you think below. One love, one vibration.